And for that one, just almost the exact same. I'll have a few less spawns, but nothing too much. So 50, leave everything else the same for under offspring. Random 3D, the first speed. This is going to be a bit slower again, so we're going to go 500 with less variation of 250 since it's a smaller number. Scale, keep it the same. Bleed, keep it the same. We're going to also have to do some, and we're going to change this color just to blue so we know which ones are which. So let's see this, how this is working. No, that's not one of them. There's one of them. There's blue. Oh, there's another one. There's blue. There's one up there. There's one up there. There. And you can see them all just kind of exploding out. Alright. So we'll save that off. And the send out sends out the rest of the particles into another explosion. So what we're going to do, shift drag this again. Press copy. Send out. Drag that over to here. And actually just clean it up. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Jeez. Again, what we're just going to do is go through this again and change a few of these. Since this is the last one that has every particle in there, we're going to make it a bit less of the explosions of offspring, so only at 40. However, speed, we're going to make it a bit more. I'm going to make it 750 with a variation of 500. So it's going to have pretty high variation. Forces, keep them the same. We don't need to really worry about those. Scale, keep it the same. Again, don't need to worry about that. And that's really everything. So now as you see, when we go into here, I'm just going to change this up so we can see different, that looks exactly like, let's make it yellow. Oh, that's an ugly yellow. There we go. As you see, that one exploded up a bit too high. That might be because of my age test. As you see, there's a whole bunch of different fireworks. So what I'm going to do in my age test is, because it seems to be a bit too high before they explode, I'm going to drop down the variation to about 7 and test value to about, keep the test value up that high. And you can see now they're about the same height. And fireworks everywhere. So that's the particle system for it. However, we're still not done with the particle system. That's just the explosions. And you would get a kind of cool effect when you put the materials on it, but it wouldn't be just as good. So let's save that off. And excuse me, let's put some trails on these explosions like we did with the other one. So what we're going to do is, these things are going to be the kind of the color behind it, like the red misty thing that follows it or stuff like that. So let's first create our event for it. So what we need to do is spawn it from one of these things. So what we'll do is go spawn test, or spawn, and we will have that after everything, just before the delete, so after everything happens on it. So under our spawn test, we're going to just, one second, we're going to spawn a lot of particles out of it, and we also will, we don't want to delete the parent though, because the parent deletes itself after 75 frames. So we're going to spawn per second at a rate of 100. Keep the offspring as 1 because that's alright. Sync by absolute time, fine by that. Inherited speed, these are going to be slower than it. So we're going to just inherit the speed with a 50% variation and 20% divergence from the particle. And, oh, excuse me, we're going to drag an explosion, another event out of here. So what we'll do is drag the scale operator out to here, and drag it under about there. And on that scale operator, it's going to start out large and then get smaller, if that makes any sense. Just like what we did for our trails right here. So what we're going to do is under our, just 1 second. And yes, so I was right. So we'll turn on IQ. So it's first frame to be 75% of the original because we're inheriting the scale from this particle. And then go to 50 and set the scale to be 0. Now make sure this animation offset timing is particle age, so or event duration. So for each event, it will automatically set that. It'll reset it and do that every time this spawn gets called. This event gets called, it resets it because it only does with event duration. Now, what we're going to do is also throw a wind modifier on there. So force, add by list, wind, and we'll leave it at about 1,000 variation, or 1,000 variation, 1,000 influence, so 10 times the amount. Drag and drop that to there, so we know which spawns go to which event, and then throw in a delete modifier, so we make sure that we delete our particles and it doesn't kill our program. As you see right now, nothing's happening because, well, we're deleting all the particles. So what we're going to do is under our delete modifier, set it to be 50 lifespan with 25 variation. And as you can see, it should, I don't know, there it is. There is an explosion with it. Because our other explosions didn't have it, but that one does. As you can see, it explodes out and our sparkly bits kind of fade. And there's another one. Ooh, that is pretty. So, that is for that. If we, now this what we're going to do is copy it over and over. Because we want a spawn by rate kind of like this for each one of these. We want each one of these to have their own explosion bits. And on these we're going to put a different material on each of them, so it kind of looks different. So we'll copy that spawn by right clicking it and hitting copy. And then click where you want it to be and then hit paste. Now we're not pasting instance because these we might want to change up a bit, depending on the different type of firework. And drag that down, if we have time. Already around to 46 minutes, and I know you guys probably want to finish this. Yeah. So that's good for that. And minimize that out. And as you see in our viewport, explosion, and then you have trails following. And look at all those trails. Look at that. Just all those fireworks. And go back to the first round. Yeah, so that's that. Now what we're going to do is have what I called sparkly bits. I don't know why I called that. But these are the kind of the explosions around the the white lights around the explosion, so it just kind of sparkles a bit, if that makes any sense, which it probably didn't. So we're going to have pull another spawn test right there, and we'll spawn again by rate. Just let me bring that up. Now there's a lot of these, but they don't last very long. So spawn by rate of 150. Oh, excuse me. And go ahead and pull this down again. Sorry, I'm really tired for some reason. And we're going to pull the scale up here. Like that. So these are sparkly bits. So these are like bits of thing, and drag and drop that to there. So under our spawn still, we want to make sure there's 150 rate, spawn 100% of it. We'll inherit all the speed and just leave a 20% divergence, which is fine because they only last for like a third of a second, so it doesn't really matter. So our scale, and we're going to animate that as well. So over 15 frames, actually over 10 frames, we're going to go from 10 to 0. So auto key, we're going to go from 50%, and we're going to go over to 10, and drop that down to 0. Turn off auto key, and make sure we sync by, again, event duration. So from there on, we're going to go under and throw speed in there and delete modifier in there. So drag and drop both of those up. Speed and delete. So our speed, we will just throw random speed on there at 600 and 300. And random 3D. Then we'll delete by particle H, 10, and 5 variation. So that should be everything we need for our sparkly bits. And you can see it's a lot for fireworks because we're going to have different colors. It's going to be a lot of the same. However, each of these, I'll just copy it. Each of these will have its very unique, like each of these are very useful for everything. This is just a nice little fun introductory one. I do it a lot for, I do work for oil fields and I do a lot for flow arrows. And this view works very easy and very well for a lot of things. You can do it for fires, however, I don't like them near as much as like for fume effects, but those are $1,000 programs, and this is free with 3ds Max. Copy that, fix that. As well, you don't have to worry about simulation times and stuff like that. So, that looks like that's all our sparkly bits and stuff. Let's see how it looks in our viewport. So you can see those are sparkly bits that just kind of sparkle with our falling areas. And holy jeepers, that's a lot of freaking particles. But you can see them sparkling and everything. Next, what we're going to do is set up some materials. So let's see how long it takes me to do that. So what we're going to do is set up specific materials that are used with the 3ds Max standard libraries, and that they work with the particle H, which is really nice. So first, we're just going to have a rocket particle. So I'm just going to open up my material editor in my other one, and open up my material editor here. So open up material editor by pressing M, and in your first event, go drag in a material static. So you have a few different types of materials. Material dynamic, frequency, and static. Dynamic means you can animate material, right here, assigns animated material and particles a current event. The particle can be animated either by animate texture or sub-object rotoscoping. We don't rotoscope windows. Frequency, again right here, the sub-material IDs are distributed according to parameter frequencies. And static, it just, you can't animate it. So usually I just use dynamic and static. Frequency I have not had to use, and I've never rotoscoped my dynamic material, which that's because I've never had a use for it. So I'm going to go look at what I did for my rocket particle. And for my rocket particle, it's just a very simple material. So what we're going to do is here, material static, drag and drop that in. Let's just make a material, standard material. Double click on it so we can get this up here. And we're going to make it yellow, so our rockets will be yellow. Something like that. So yeah, just 255, 2550. Very simple. Okay. And then I'm going to have an 80% self-illumination so you can actually see it. Our opacity will have a map on it, so we'll just drag one out here, and we'll throw a gradient map on it. Let's throw that as a click down here. Double click on your gradient, and set it to a radial gradient. As you see, that's how it goes. Keep the colors the same. Noise shouldn't matter about it. Color to position 0. Yeah, it should be good enough. I'm seeing if I change it up over there, but I don't think I change up anything. Nope. Just, yeah, leave that for the opacity. If you double click on this, you notice our opacity is turning around like that. It's kind of softening on the edges. Yeah. So that will be our rocket material. I don't think, nope, we didn't have anything. So we'll just drag and drop that onto the assigned material, instance it, of course. And you'll be able to see our material in our viewport. Let's get one right there. Let's get the first rocket. I just kind of want to show that off. And for some reason it's not showing it up because my material static is still showing up none. For some reason. Yeah, no, that's just strange. That's before my spawn, after my shape facing. Excuse me one sec while I figure out what the heck happened to it. Material static. Yep, that's the right one. That's the right one. That should be working. Oh yes, right, of course. Before you set any of these materials, you also need to assign the materials to your particle flow system. There we go. No, that didn't want to work for me either. Come on. Sign it. And 1 second. Alright, for some reason, as I said before, I should have thought of this. It's based upon where the material is in the scene. So it bursts, it positions, it speeds. I used to have this down here. So I used to make it face the camera and then set a material to it, but that wouldn't work. So pull it up above the shape facing, and as you see, it has now the rocket texture to it. So what that means is, I was just a dummy. and make sure the material is set before it faces the camera, because if it was facing the camera, it's like, oh, now I'm black, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with this, like I don't have material to face the camera, I'm already facing it. So yeah, that's that one. Make sure the material dynamic is facing it. Next, we will be throwing our rocket trails on. So these are the trails of the rockets, and I'm going to drag this on here so I can look at what I did. And this we will base it on particle age, so we'll have a color based upon particle age. So what we'll do is go under materials. First drag material dynamic, because it's going to be animated over time because of the particle age, and drag it just above delete particle, and so let's make a new standard material. Standard. And there we go. Under, drag and drop this onto our material, instance it, because we're going to be making changes to this and we want to automatically change there. And let's set up this. So first what we're going to do is have a self-illumination of a black color, but however it's going to be a mask. And then we're going to throw on a rocket trail. So what we're going to do is under diffuse, click and drag out, and we're going to set a particle age map. So this does this bases a color on the particle age. So at 0% age it's going to be white, so that's pure white right after the explosion. On 50% of the age, we're going to change this up, and we're going to make it orange. So it's kind of like burning out like a fuel fire. Let's try to think of orange. So something like that. That's kind of orange, right? Yeah. Maybe a bit more saturated, something like that. And we want this to happen, we want that white to die out really quickly, so we'll set this at 10% of the age, it's going to become orange, and then 100% of the age, it's going to become pure red. And that will be our particle age map. We also want to set this into, so drag and drop this into self-illumination map, so we can actually see what is going on with that. Now what we don't want is it to, because if we save that out now and render it out now, you'll notice that it's just a square. I have to remember how to do these things. Drag and drop that into that. Into PF source, and that should work fine. Now for some reason it's not wanting to render out for me, so I'm not hitting the right button, and that's not working for me again. Alright, let's pull that up from there. There we go. It just depends on where it is. As you can see, it's very square right there, so what we need to do is an opacity mask on it. So what we're going to do is throw a mask on it under opacity. We're going to go here and throw a mask on it. Now a mask allows you to mask a map, as that makes sense. So what we're going to have is under map, we're just going to have a basic gradient, and we'll delete this one out here. We can delete things out of here and we'll delete them out of our scene. This is just our workspace. And I'm going to set it to radial. Everything else is fine. Then what I'm going to do under mask, we're going to set up a particle age map. So this masks our gradient based upon our particle age. And at color 0, it's going to be a dark gray, so something like that. And at color 2, or at age 2 and 3, 50, Jesus, at age 50 and 100, it's going to be pure black. So this means the gradient will stay on it for, it'll slowly go to this gradient right after the explosion. And black means full gradient, so if we render this out again, you'll notice kind of peters out after it. So we kind of have a trail. We kind of actually want those to last longer, so what we're going to do, make this a bit more white, and put this up about 60. And this should make it last longer. That's because, there we go. As you can see, they're now longer particles. So that's that part. Next, what we're going to do is go under explosions and make explosions. And explosion. Yeah. All right. So this is going to be fun one. So what we're going to do is drag another dynamic material into here, material dynamic, and drop it right here. We might have to reposition it as we did here to make it proper, but we will do that. So close out this so I can see it, delete all these things out by pressing the delete key. So we can still have our materials in our scene, but we have a new workspace. Make a new standard material and drag and drop that onto this. instance it. And under this, our explosion fragments, instance it out, we're going to have an opacity mask, and it's just going to be kind of a white material. So, because it's kind of explosion, so it's just going to be white. Pull up a white material, have it self-illuminate up to 100%, and then our opacity, where you will drag out a mask again. So mask, and it's going to be almost the exact same as what we did before. So under our map, it will be a gradient. Double click on that, set it to radial, and leave it like that. Under our mask, click and drag it out, set it to be a particle H. And our particle H will be a white, so this will be a 100% for both of these, and then it'll fade out right at the very end. For about the 40%, for the last 40% of its life, it'll be fading out. So make it H1 0, H2 60, H3 100, white, white, black, and it'll work perfectly fine. And we'll drag that on, and we'll actually first we'll see how that looks to make sure it's working. Explosion, that should have an explosion part of it. And our yellow particles. Trying to figure out why it's being yellow. That's probably because I don't have them on every this material on every one. So we'll just copy and paste this material. Actually, I'm going to paste instant. Paste it. Doesn't matter because I don't think we need to. No, we don't. I was thinking we're going to need to change up a few parameters inside the material dynamic, inside this box, but we don't need to. Pull you down, paste this in here, and paste this in here. So that should be our explosion particles. This should be these particles right here that are falling off. And as you can see, they work. So we got that, and we got those falling off, and everything like that. Next, what we're going to do is our explosion trails. So these are our actual colors of our trails. So we're going to leave that out. And go back into our material editor. Leave this out. And we're going to make a new standard material. And this is going to be our explosion material for our trails. And our trails, I should have actually done this, but pretty sure these are our trails. Yeah, by the particle age, these are our trails. I should have named them better, but I only have so much longer. I know that shouldn't be an excuse, blah, blah, blah. So drop a material dynamic in here. I'm going to put it first because sometimes it doesn't work differently. Why did I put material frequency? That's wrong. Delete that out. Material dynamic, put it up there, and drag and drop this onto it. There you go. Instance it. Okay. And explosion trails. So really, this is just going to be exactly the same as the ones we've done before. However, instead, this one's going to have color to it. So our diffuse color is going to be particle H. And where's particle H? And what I'm going to do is, these are trails, so you can make them whatever you want, just whatever color you really want. At 10%, I'm going to make it like, let's make this a yellow. What kind of cool colors are fireworks? Let's actually Google that up. Oh, I have them on Facebook. Did you know that? Everyone's on Facebook. Woohoo! Firework colors. Yeah, so I'm Canadian, that's why I spent it that one. Ooh, so that's a nice one. So we have like a red 20-day challenge. Someone did a 20-day challenge. You got a blue, a yellow, blue that goes to white actually. I like that one. I like that purple that goes to red. I want a bigger image though. Alright, so we'll have a purple that goes to red and a, yeah, something that goes to white. So first this will be purple. Drag it right there. That's kind of a purple, I think. Yeah. So at about 50%, it'll be purple, and it'll start out actually closer to purple. So I'm going to select that color from there and make it a bit less saturated. Start close to purple, go to purple, and then at 60% it's going to go straight to blue. So that'll be our particle age map, and we'll also drop that under self-illumination. Drag our self-illumination up to 100. And under opacity, we're going to do that mask again. I really should say that mask out. Mask. Under map, it'll be gradient. Under gradient, just radial. And under our mask, it will be a particle H. And our particle H, I don't really think needs to be changed too much. Let's make this kind of a gray. This, yeah. Actually, I'm going to swap those two. I like that better. And then make this a bit darker. Oh, jeez. Make that a bit darker, so something like that. So there's 27, 27. And then this one's going to be black. It really doesn't need to be near as exact, it might just need to be close enough. Now that is going to be our color. However, what we're going to do is make 4 of these, since we have 4 different, what's it called? It's 4 different explosions. So just copy and paste this down, and then we can change it around however we like. I'm going to copy this material dynamic over 4 times. So, I want this one, paste it here. We don't want to paste an instance because it's going to be different materials. Drag that up there. And I really need to. Also, don't worry about the space you use in your particle view. You have unlimited, literally unlimited. Copy this again, paste over here. Drag you down, and now we're going to make some cool colors. So this is going purple to blue. We're going to have a yellow to orange one, I guess. Yellow to orange. It's going to start off kind of a whitish yellow, like that. What other colors are there? There's a green one. Oh, I like the green one. Yellow to green. Orange to red. Okay, we'll do yellow to green and orange to red. So we'll go here. Yellow, green, and to a very vivid green. Yeah, literally vivid green. Actually, this should be dark. No, this should be lighter green. Yeah, paler green, and to a very vivid green. Yeah, I don't really like that. Vivid green to a. Do you like that? There we go. That's that one. And what's our next one? What was the one I wanted to do? Red to orange? Sure, why not? Do I have red to orange? Yellow to orange. Let's make this red to orange. And you can also change up the times here. Remember, all these colors are up to you, whatever you want to do. You can change these times up here just to make them colors and feel different. But as long as you like them, that's all that matters. So what we're going to do now is drag and drop the materials on here. Drag and drop this one. Pull this over so we can do something. Material 28. Material 29. I really should name stuff better. I have a horrible habit of not naming stuff properly. Yeah, you should not be like me with that. Now let's start this off one to do the paler green. Material 28. And after this, we only have one more material to make, and it's just a static material, so it's easy. Pull that up above, and put 31 on there. So what we're going to be able to see, is, hopefully, these particles will now have colors on them. Render it out. We're updating our particle flow. And please don't crash it. There we go. Pairing objects. And they're really small for some reason. Don't think my scale worked properly. Did something wrong with that. As you can see, our trails are tiny. It's really tiny. It should be not that small. So what we're going to do is under our trails, which I totally must have screwed up. I don't think I did, though. I don't know why they're so small. Alright, well, maybe it's my mask. 1 second. I'm gonna go check what we did wrong, because the trail should not be that small. Under materials, under my mask. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're supposed to match now. Yeah. All right. So what we're just gonna do is make these bigger, because as you see, our explosions look kind of lame because you can barely see the falling bits behind it. So what we're going to do is under here. Do I have a scale variation on these? I should. Yes. So we're going to hit auto key. And we're going to make this 150 and go down to 50. Yeah, 150 is perfect. Yeah, that's right. And then under our variation, I'm going to make it 50. Set by event duration, and it should be fine. Now, I'm going to do that for all of these. I should have, actually what I'm going to do, copy, and paste instance. This will make sure that, just copy over it, make sure that copies over it. Paste instance. So this means I can change it in any one of these, and it will, oh, these are all overwrite once. These should be relative first, that's why. This means it's relative to the first, it's the size it was before. And dropping this back down to 75 now, so it's going to go to 75, should make it fine. And now that we instance all of them, it shouldn't matter. Now we're going to hopefully see the proper, yeah, there we go, that is better. And hopefully it will change colors. That really, this one I don't like, but the other ones look nice. This one looks really nice. But I mean, that's for all your, whatever you want, really. I don't like that green one. So I'm going to go find the green one, whatever that one is, and change it. And my material editor, which is my green one. That's a green one. This is a green one. Ah, yes. We'll bring that down to like 40. 50. There that is. And then that's that one. That's good. That was good. Alright. Save that off. Re-render it, and let's see how that looks. Excuse me. Let it render. That green one's still... Something's wrong with this one right here. Something's happening. Don't know what it is. Material 31. Okay, let's turn off the ones until we find it. So just hit these light bulbs. And this is just totally for me. I'm going to probably not need to do this. So yeah. Let's minimize this out. And we'll notice which ones they are because it's that one. Is it that one? Updating, updating, and preparing objects. It takes a long time for particle systems to render and update. It is that one. Pretty sure. So it's event, so this one right here, event 07. Material 28. Alright, so it's material 28. I don't like it. I don't know why, because I thought that was the pink one. Okay. Let's go under there. Material 28. Materials. 28, yeah, it's not good. I don't know why that's not working properly. Okay. Whatever. I'm gonna have to change that up my own self. Something's wrong with my spawning or something. I see the other ones work fine. This one doesn't for some reason. And I'm not going to waste your time rendering except for this last time. Holy Jesus, it takes forever. 75, 76, 77, 78. I'm going to pause it really quick. So as you notice, it looks much better now. And all I did was literally pull this material dynamic below the scale. So if you get some of the weird things that I did, just change around the order of these. Sometimes it's really buggy, and Max, sadly, isn't proper with that. Isn't good enough with that. It's being annoying and jerk-facey. Alright, so, holy jeez, we're almost an hour and a half into this tutorial. We're almost done though, I promise. We have one more material to do. What we're going to do is make a material for these sparkly bits, I call them. And all it is then a particle. It's just a material with a opacity gradient on it and a self-illumination. We're going to go under materials, delete all these out because we don't need them anymore. Materials, standard, go there. Under diffuse, make it white. Self-illumination, make it white. Or 100, really doesn't matter. And under opacity, we will set a gradient for it. Under a gradient, set to radial, and that'll be good. And then we will put a material static on each of these. So let's throw that one there. And I really should have pulled this back. Make sure when you're working with particle systems, like when you change around stuff, pull it back to 0 frame. Because there's no particles in your viewport at 0 frame, and therefore it's much faster on your viewport. Material static. Drag and drop this onto it. Instance it out. Copy this over and instance it everywhere. Paste instance. And you can see material static should be going up top. There we go. There are always some kind of little mishaps that this particle view has. Even on 2012, it's still not perfect, but it's really good and really powerful. So that's that, and that might be everything. So let's just see one explosion. I want to see if the sparkly bits are working, and can't even tell. But I'd like to think they are, because yeah, they're not yet. This should be relative first, not overwrite once. Relative first. The scale, so make sure the scale on all these events that are the sparkly pieces, make them relative first instead of overwrite once. I totally forgot that. Now these should be working fine. And there we go. We got our sparkly bits, we got our trails, and that's everything. So we have introduced you to the particle flow system, making some really cool fireworks, and I hope you liked it. Yeah. Sorry for the long tutorial, sorry for a few little mishaps, but I hope you learned something. And we have a really nice looking particle system going here. You can see it's just working off one. Just keeps building out. We got our bursts, we go to events, we split up stuff, and stuff like that. So right now I'm just going to say thank you, and I'm going to hopefully have an update on my apartment. I'm working on it, but I'm just not recording anything and showing you how I do stuff. Some of the stuff I've done that's new and I'd really want to show you out. For rendering it, just go F10, render active time segment, excuse me. Put a file out and render whatever settings you want. So I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.